This is Hypertellurians, a science fantasy adventure roleplay game in the future of old, with the extended and revised Manville edition. Let's have a look. You have here a glossary and index, also an end paper here. And first we have a look at the key principles, which are, as you can see, not very many. It has easy and fast rules, but you can also go into a lot of depth with your character as well. So this is quite nice. Chapter 1, Player Characters. Hypertellurians lets you play any kind of character you want. As long as you can think about it, you can play the character. And it's very important that it's fun playing the character. Chapter 2, Playing the Game. This is the character sheet with lots of notes at the side, which basically explain most of the game if you have a look at it. The most important part about Hypertellurians is the wonders. You gain wonder when you see something cool, and then you can use this wonder to do something cool. And that way you advance. Chapter 3, Archetypes. The alien, the beasts, also the construct, the revenant, and the royal, and the ultronaut. You have ready-made character concepts, as well as powers that are specific to this archetype. Your character can also gain cosm powers, which basically work for every character archetype. You have Tellurian of unusual size. You want to be very small or very big. You can do this. You want to be the life of the party. Now's your chance. Chapter 6, Tips for Players. This is very interesting because normally you don't get tips for players, but players are part of the game too, so they should get tips. Chapter 7, Running the Game. The GM section. This is basically everything you need to run the game and create cool shit, like monsters, when to give your characters wonder, in doubt, give wonder, weapons, monsters, cool sample NPCs with some notes at the sides, some spells, which can be quite useful. You have Light Legion. It steals the sun's native people to serve you or fight for you. Or you can somehow convince a cult of very weird people that you are their god. This is a table to create your own premise. You can just read out one line. The characters are spoiled princes and princesses traveling the Ultracosm to win a dare via their father's purloined magical carriage. But you can also mix and match, which then you might come up with something very unusual and also fun. This is the starting adventure, Marvelous Voyage to the Viridian Moon. It's actually 40 or so pages, and it lets you play a very pulpy science fiction adventure on the Viridian Moon, or on the way to the Viridian Moon. The NPCs are crew members and passengers. Your characters can also be a crew member or a passenger. There is also the timeline for the voyage. You have the Vernilus, which is an experimental craft that flies through the ether. By which power, you do not know yet. The map lets you see everything that's happening on the Vernilus quite easily. It's very easy to reference and very nice to look at. While playing the game, your characters will enter rooms, and you can reference these rooms very easily because everything is on one page or one spread. You don't have to skip through the whole book to see something. You don't have to skip back the map because the map's right here. Everything you see here, you can have here. This first level of indentation is something the characters see when they enter the room. Everything in the second indentation is something they might see under further examination. This is the most important illustration of this book. It's Manville and Anvil, the namesakes of this edition. random events on the Vernilus. Because, I mean, basically everything that can happen will happen. So these are some nice things to happen to your characters while playing the game. Also random finds on the Vernilus, because some players just want to loot, right? So you will arrive at the Viridian Moon. Somehow, on some way, your characters will be there. It's also a nice dungeon map. And some more illustrations. Character sheets. These are some versions of the character sheets. They can also be found on the website to download. We have a very new edition from Skull Fungus. The inspiration. This book and this game was inspired by many things. If you too need inspiration for a game you're running, have a look at these. This was Hypertellurians Manville Edition. Written and laid out by Frank Redding. Illustrated by Anna Moller, Olga Protzka, Karen Redding, Beto Lima, Scapefiend, Katie Wakelin, and more.